My name is Kenny Tan. Welcome to the Real Biz Academy. Here at the Real Biz Academy, we help you pass your real estate exam on the first try. This is episode 4 of real estate exam questions not in the book. Episode 4, we're going to be giving you some tips about how foreigners can handle tax withholding if they are involved in the sale of a U.S. real estate. Foreign investment in Real Property Tax Act, that is the topic for this episode. It's also known as FIRPTA. How is foreigner defined? Not a U.S. citizen or resident. On the screen, you'll see a bonus question for which there'll be an answer somewhere in the video, so keep watching. The definition of foreigner does not include domestic corporation, partnership, or trust. Withholding tax amount, that will be 15% of amount realized. Amount realized is defined as the fair market value of the property. If the property is held by a couple and only one of them is a foreigner, only the foreigner's portion is subject to withholding. The non-foreigner, the U.S. citizen or permanent resident's portion is not subject to withholding. There are exceptions to withholding. Number 1, sale price does not exceed $300,000 and buyer intends to occupy the property as a primary residence. For example, if you intend to buy a property in the Midwest where property prices are lower and the sale price is less than $300,000 and you intend to occupy the property as a primary residence, if you're a buyer, then the seller's proceeds is not subject to withholding, and if the seller is a foreigner. Number 2, 1031 exchange. If the seller wants to exchange an investment property for another investment property, for example, that is not subject to FIRPTA withholding. Number 3, sellers sign a form certifying they are not foreigners. Or if their sellers are not foreigners, then obviously there would not be any withholding. However, the sellers would have to certify that. Sellers may elect to have a qualified substitute receive the certification. Sometimes out of privacy reason, the seller want to do that, such as the seller don't want to give out their social security number, for example. In that case, the escrow might act as the QS, and then the escrow will notify the buyers if the sellers are foreigners. If buyers are aware that sellers signed a false certification, then it is invalid and withholding should have been required. If buyers are unaware if it is false, but either or both of the real estate agents are aware of the falsity, then either or both could lose their commission. Now let's talk about withholding certificate. If withholding is necessary, i.e. required, sellers may apply to the IRS to lower the withholding. Sellers must then submit proof of actual capital gain amount, for example, the seller's closing statement and the purchase contract. Number 2, both buyers and sellers must possess tax IDs. So if the sellers have not received a tax ID yet, the sellers would have to first apply for the tax ID. The IRS usually requires about 90 days processing time for the withholding certificate. So if the escrow must close sooner than 90 days, then the parties may consider letting the escrow withhold the estimated tax at close and then pay within 20 days after escrow closes. And then the seller will apply for the refund in 90 days.